Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my Outsiders Arakni deck tech, at least the volume 1 of it. Similar to the Katsu deck tech and the Ranger deck tech, I want to give you all like at least a base level on how to build some of these heroes. All three, Azalea, Katsu, and Arakni, I've played pretty decently. Like Arakni, I've played a lot of. I haven't played a big event with Arakni yet, just because I haven't had the cojones to take it. But I have played several armories, done pretty well with it. Always had a winning record with it, and I've played a lot of Talishar games for anyone that's following the channel on it. So I have a decent amount with the hero, and I've incorporated some of the new cards into the list. Not as much as you would think, but we're gonna go over it. I'll kind of talk about my changes, why I made the changes, some changes I didn't make, talk about some cards and things of that nature. So. The first big change is in the equipment. So in the old list, which you can see right here, we had Goliath Gauntlet in the arm piece with Black Tech Whispers, Tunic, and Paradisium with 2 Spider Spites. The big change we made was we swapped out Goliath Gauntlet for Flick Knives. Flick Knives is a once per turn attack reaction, doesn't cost anything to do. Target dagger you control that isn't on the active chain link deals 1 damage to target hero. If the damage is dealt this way, the dagger is hit, destroy the dagger. So basically, you're going to use cards like this, cards like Hurl, to deal damage that is unblockable unless you prevent the damage. So unless you're like basically an Oldheim or like a Prism type character, it's going to hit, and it allows you to close out games. Basically, with these cards, your opponent really can't go to 2 life because you're just going to do this twice and kill them. And then you use cards like Conceal Blade, which is target assassin or ninja attack action card gains +1, and when it hits, equip a dagger from your inventory. You use this to basically secure your daggers from your sideboard back into your equipment set, because when one of your daggers is destroyed, you can use this card to go get a dagger from your inventory, which is your sideboard, and put it into play. So using that, you could say, is it better or worse than Goliath Gauntlet? I'm not sure. It's definitely better than Iron Rot Gauntlets because it's literally Iron Rot with an extra ability. So I definitely would have this as an upgrade, but it really depends on what you value more. I value this more over Goliath Gauntlet personally. And then we have only 1 Spider's Bite in the main board because we're going to pick from all these new daggers that we got in the Outsiders set. So basically, for anyone that's not aware, all these are pay 2 resources for 1 attack. They have piercing 1, and if Spider's Bite hits, the next attack action card your opponent defends with gets -1 defense. If you attack with Scale Peeler and it hits, the next equipment they defend with gets -1 defense, and Orbital Cast is the next non-attack action that's defended with gets -1 defense if they hit. So you're able to swap in for your second dagger based off who you're playing. So if you're playing like a Briar or an Azalea, someone that might use non-attacks to block, right, so they can keep threats in hand, you'll use something like Orbital Cast. If you're playing like a Guardian or even a Rune Blade like Viscerai that has a lot of armor, you'll use something like Scale Peeler. And then if you're playing like a Katsu or like a Phi, then you use double Spider's Bite. So you're able to like pick the tool for your loadout and kind of go from there. So it's really nice. Getting into the deck, we'll talk about cards that didn't change. So Annihilate the Arm stayed in. Command and Conquer, obviously. So like we'll talk about like the power cards first. So none of the power cards change. Your 12 power cards in the deck are Command and Conquer, Leave No Witnesses, Eradicate, and Surgical Extraction. Those are your 12 power cards. Those are the cards you're playing to win with, cards you're trying to bring back, things of that nature. So overall, those are your power cards. Other than that, Annihilate the Armed, as you can see, didn't change. In my old list, I had 6 Cut to the Chases. I've since gone down to 3 just because I have a little bit more non-contract attacks in this list. Like I have 3, 6, 9, basically 9, 11 cards that are not contract, and counting like the non-attacks, I have 14, 17 cards, 20 cards that are not 23 cards that are not contract. So as you can see, a lot, right? So the Cut to the Chases aren't as useful to have a bunch of. So I only have the reds, which is still really nice though, to play Leave No Witnesses for 7 is really good for that. I ended up adding a Lightning Strike into the list, and I didn't previously have it in the list. I basically swapped out Yellow Cuts for Lightning Strike because for a 2-card hand, to be able to have this for 7, right, it's just really, really good value. And it's a 3-block, right? So overall, just too good a value not to have it in the list. The one new card I put in was Hurl. I basically subbed in, I'm not sure exactly what I subbed in for it. Probably a sideboard card more than anything, because I had a lot more on the sideboard in my last list. But Hurl, same thing as Flick Knives, just a way to close out games. With Hurl and Flick Knives, if you can get your Concealed Blades to hit, you basically have 4 damage that you can hit late game that's unblockable unless they prevent it. So it's just really good way to close out games. And it's a 3-go again. So playing this into like when you're not going to use its ability, playing this into like a Leave No Witnesses for 4, which is really nice. Or you play this, they don't want to block it because they don't know what's coming next. So it's a good 3 damage. If they do block it, then you can punish them and play like a Leave No Witnesses for 4. And then they have to maybe give you a 2-card block or a defense reaction to block that. So just a good way to play into the fatigue plan. It is a 2-block, which kind of sucks. I'm trying to limit 2 blocks. And currently in the list, I have 9 2-blocks, which for me is already almost too much, but it all depends. Leave No Witnesses stayed. Nimbleism stayed. Some people don't like Nimbleism. I love Nimbleism. It's too good, right? You know, I'll play Leave No Witnesses for 7 and Plunder the Poor for 7. Like all my 0 costs is for 7. Or playing Eradicate off Tunic for 7. Just too good. I value it too highly. So there's a reason for that. And I ended up having, I still had that in the list. Then my 6 Plunder the Poors I haven't taken out. Those are pretty standard. Rob the Rich is really good. 1 for 5 off Tunic. Slay of Scholars. Slay of Scholars will get you silver, in my opinion, more than most cards because it just targets non-attack actions. Just how Annihilate the Arm targets attack action cards. These are the 2 sets of cards that'll get you the most silver overall. And then we have Codex of Frailty. This card actually is really good in Assassin in general, but it's really good in Arakni. So like if I blow it up, some people might not be aware of the card, and this is the Marvel version they put in February. Each hero puts an attack action card from their graveyard face down into their arsenal. Each hero that does that discards a card. Create a Ponder token under your control and a Frailty token under your opponent's control. Go again. So you get a Ponder token. They get a Frailty token, so you're going to be able to draw at the end of your turn in Arsenal anyway. And what I like about this, and I've had my buddy Morty do this to me when he's on Uziri, is so like when I was playing Katsu, right, he would play this card, which when you first think about it, you're like, oh, I mean, you're giving me an attack action. As a Katsu, that's really good because I can go get a combo card, pick my combo card that lines up with my starter in my hand, and then just be good, right? It sounds like actually like a bad thing to play against your opponent. The issue with Codex of Frailty is if you've played a Command and Conquer or a Leave No Witnesses, you literally can play Codex of Frailty, put a Command and Conquer or a Leave No Witness in Arsenal, and then play it. So you're gonna threaten the arsenal that you just let them get, right? So they discard a card, and now you're also threatening them to get rid of their arsenal. And if you play Leave No Witnesses, you just discard a card, you're threatening to get them to blow up their arsenal, and you're threatening to banish a card off top of their deck. So really, really good. This is basically like Remembrance, Assassin Remembrance, like not as many cards, but it's more threatening in my opinion, turn over turn. Really good. You can bring back Eradicate, Surgical Distractions, all your power cards. So basically you have 12 power cards in your deck. With Codex of Frailty, you have 15 power cards in your deck. That's the way it looks. Really, really good card. Definitely a 3 of in this list for sure. And it'll never come out. Eradicate stay the same. Shreds, I think in my last list I had, did I have any shreds? Wow. I had 6 shreds. I was about to say, no way. 6 shreds, still really good card. It goes with every card in your deck except for Command and Conquer and Enlightened Strike. Just too good of a card. Once they see one, they have to start respecting it. I also add in Spreading Plague. I really like this card. A lot of times in Arakni, right, people want to just block you out and basically fatigue you until you run out of threats. So it costs 1 to play. Create X Bloodrot Pox tokens under defending hero's control. When X is the number of defending cards in the chain link. So what I like doing with this is like if you can get tempo and you have like let's say a 3-card hand, and you play Spider Bite, right? And then you play like a Leave No Witnesses for 4, and let's say they block it by 6 because they don't want you to like get hit with Conceal Blade or whatever. They're just making sure they overblock it. Shoot, they might even block it by 7. They might block with 2 cards, which I've seen people do. 2 cards in hand, and then a Battle Worn 1, a block like I don't know, Breaking Skills, right? For instance, you play Spreading Plague with your last resource from your blue, and all of a sudden you create 3 Bloodrot Pox tokens under their control. So yes, you didn't banish a card or Leave No Witnesses, but you're probably then going to deal 6 damage on their turn. So they blocked with 3 cards from hand or 2 cards in equipment, and they're still getting dealt 6 damage. Like really, really good. A lot of times people will overblock you, especially late game on your power cards, and that's where you can use Spreading Plague to your advantage. And what I like about this is it doesn't have to be an assassin attack. You can play Command and Conquer, and they block 6, and then you Spreading Plague and give them 2 Blood Rot Pox tokens. So it's an assassin attack reaction, but it doesn't have to be on an assassin attack action card. So really, really good for that. And it's a 3-block. So a 3-block yellow pitch. So it kind of hits all the wickets. And then we're running 18 blues in this list. I think it's a little bit more than last time. Last time we were running 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18. Yeah, we're still running 18 blues in the last list. So we're running 18 blues in this list. Not much has changed. It's pretty much the same. 2 last-ditch efforts. 3 concealed blades is new. To hope go get those daggers back. 3 shreds, 3 slays, and 3 surgicals. I think this list is actually pretty decent. Like, Arakni definitely got upgraded. It's probably not enough to make him relevant in the meta, but we'll have to see. I still enjoy playing him. I think you can win games with him. It's just a little bit harder. It depends kind of on what your meta is. So yeah, and then the sideboard I have 3 Fates, 3 Sinks, and 3 Sigils. Basically, whenever I want to play the Fatigue plan against, Dory, against Oldheim, against Bravo, against like these heroes where I know it's going to go to like the very end, I need to be able to play these to help keep me alive. Talking about some cards that didn't make the list, Redback Shroud did not make the list. Tunic's still better, even if you can get this back twice. Like when you break your silver, you're wanting to go get Black Tech Whispers or Mask of Erudition, depending on the matchup. You're not really want to go get back something just to be able to play attack reactions for free. This is mainly for, like, in my opinion, how do I put this? This is mainly, I can't even think of where this is mainly for, to be honest with you. I really can't. Because even Blitz Arakni isn't going to run this, because Blitz Arakni is going to be running more stealth cards. This is mainly, I guess, if you value the block that heavily. But, like, if you're running a lot of Spike with Blood Rot or Spike with Inertia, this could be really good because those were basically 0 cost. But, like, in a traditional Arakni list, like, the only thing this would be good with is Spreading Plague. But, like, Cut to the Chase doesn't cost anything to play. Nimblism's a not attack reaction. It only costs anything to play. Like, Concealed Blade doesn't cost anything to play, so it doesn't really matter, right? I think this is a card that's going to be more useful later on once more support is for it. But right now, it's just not as useful. Bleed Out's a pretty decent card you could run. I just don't like it because it doesn't banish anything, and it's a 2-block. So it's basically a 1-for-4 go against assassin attack. All the stealth cards aren't useful. They're 3-power attacks. They don't have go again. They don't have the banish effect that contract cards have. They're like worse contract cards. Now in Blitz Arakni, they're very useful, right? Because you can chain together multiple attacks. But in CC Arakni, wouldn't run them. The traps, I wouldn't run Arakni personally. I don't like having 3-block defense reactions. I'd rather have a 4-block to play for the fatigue game plan. Death Touch, it's too hard to get an Arsenal with Arakni. You basically have to hold it in hand, then Arsenal it unless you Codex or Frailty it. Not as useful. And then the one that I had in the list originally but took out was Infiltrate. Infiltrate is when this hits a hero, banish top card of their deck. You may play it until the next turn. So it basically has what Contract has, but it's a 3-power. It kind of sucks for that. If this was 4, which I wish it would have been, because it would have been kind of like a Leave No Witness, it would have been really good, and I probably would have ran it at the breakpoint. But since it doesn't have a breakpoint, it's just not worth the run. The last one you can think about is Isolate. If you have a lot of attack reactions in your deck, you could think about Isolate because it's dominated. Then you just attack react it to close out the game. But right now, currently, just not enough support for that. And then, like I said, the stealth cards are meant for Blitz or Arakni more than anything. Nothing much to see there. So that's basically where I'm at. The other one you could think about running to is Knives Out to make your daggers come in for 2. But even then, like, it's a blue, so you're playing a blue. That means you'd have to have 3 blues in hand, right? Unless you have Tunic, because, like, you're going to play a blue to then pitch 2 blues, right? At that, maybe late game, like, this isn't too bad because you're threatening 4 damage instead of 2 if your opponent's, like, on, like, 1 or 2 life. That might not be bad, but overall, it's probably not worth the slot, to be honest. So, yeah. The deck has definitely not gotten any crazy upgrades. Hurl's pretty nice. Flick Knives nice. Where this deck got upgrades is 2 things. It got upgrades late game. If you can get your opponent down to 3 or 4 life, like, they're in really big trouble because of the Flick Knives and Hurl abilities. It got Spreading Plague, which helps against opponents that just want to overblock you and, like, tell you, like, screw you. And then Codex Frailty is honestly its biggest upgrade because it allows you to cycle threats back into your deck. And not only cycle threats back into your deck, but give that the card that you cycle back an immediate threat, right? It's not like Remembrance where it goes somewhere randomly in your deck and you might not get it for a couple turns. Like you can immediately like put pressure on your opponent. So it's really nice for that. But yeah, if you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the list, any changes that you would make. I'm totally open to any of them. Hopefully this list helps you out and gives you a good starting point for the class. And hopefully good luck in your Arakni games. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much. Have a nice day.